Ciao, Em. Yo. What's up, everybody? Alright, so it's about the storm here. So we're walking back home. I thought no better time than do another video of why you should plan to move to Southeast Asia or anywhere after COVID's over. You only got one life to live, YOLO. So let's unpack why I think it's a good idea for you to experience new cultures, new countries, and not just visit them, but live in them, because it's a much different experience than just doing a 2-week vacation at the place. And America will always be there. It's not going anywhere, or wherever you're from. Your homeland is gonna be there, and you can return when you want. But if you haven't lived abroad and lived somewhere else, you're kind of missing out on a lot of stuff in life. I mean, ideally, you want to become a minimalist and get rid of everything you have and just travel all over and live in places for, you know, a year, a couple years maybe. That was my original plan, but then I met, you know, the love of my life. So I'm gonna home base here, and then, you know, we'll have a home here, and then I'll travel once this COVID's over. You know, every other month I'm gonna be somewhere, and she knows that. She knows what the channel goal has been since day one, and I've talked about it since day one. So, I mean, we're not gonna be apart longer than 60 days at a time probably, but I still am gonna go places. Like, probably the first place I'll go is Japan for a couple months once it opens up again. And once they have like a low quarantine and the vaccine's out. But yeah, I think you should move. You should plan and start planning now. If you've ever even kind of had the idea to be like, I gotta get out of here. I'm done with this rat race. I'm done feeling all this pressure. I'm done with this high rent. I'm done with a bunch of credit card bills. Like, you know, you can become a digital, I hate saying this, and it's the lamest term, but a digital nomad of sorts. And now you have time to figure out how you can make different kinds of income before you start world traveling, so that you have a diverse, multiple streams of revenue coming in each month off passive and non-passive incomes. Now is the time when you can start learning a skill. I mean, you probably got another year. You can learn programming of some kind of formal programming that you could get a job for, and you could work remotely and never need to be in an office, and allow you to have income while you're traveling or living abroad somewhere. You know, I particularly like Vietnam because it's a mix of, you can get high end, but then you can get low end. So it's a good mix of not spending a lot, but you can spend a lot. You can get a nice apartment, or you can get a shitty apartment that's really cheap. It gives you all the options. Like almost any country, I'm sure, but I more so mean, like, I can live in D1, which is, in my opinion, the best district in Saigon, because it has the most stuff to do. There's so many different good restaurants, so many good places to go, parks, all these things. So I can come here and essentially do whatever I want, and my apartment's $600 a month, and I'm in a really nice apartment. Like, if you went, you know, super cheaper in a Vietnamese apartment, $350, $400 easily. And then if you go live in like a Vietnamese district like Quan 6 or stuff like that, like way out there, you can get $200-$300 apartment. Granted, these are not going to be nice apartments, but if you're, you know, a cheapskate, they've got what you need here. And you're never too old to change your life or move. You know, a lot of people think if they're in their 50s or 40s even, it's too late, and you've got all these cars and you've got a mortgage. Sell it. Just sell it all. You don't need the shit anyways. A house is such an overrated thing. I owned a house. It was a bust out another $1,000 every month for something. Like, this is my opinions too. I am not the ruler of information and thought. You might think elsewise, but I'm giving you what my feelings are. Yeah, owning a car is nothing special. Owning a house is nothing special. I don't need either of those things. Here, I just need a motorcycle, a roof over my head, and I'm good. And I can go do what I want. It's so cheap to just domestically travel here. It's awesome. Like, I can go take a trip, like a quick trip. It's starting to rain. I can go take a quick trip for $300, and I feel like I'm in a totally different place than Vietnam, like, or Saigon. The possibilities are endless, and you learn so much about cultures and yourself and changing when you live in another country. It makes you a richer person, personality-wise, and it's not something that you should miss out in your life. I mean, even if you have a business and you're all locked into that, you know, find someone that can run it for you if you can run it remotely. The first thing you really got to do is just like sell all your shit, you know? You got to get rid of everything you own. You've got to become a minimalist, which I am. Well, not as much as I was when I got here, but mainly it's Winnie that's got a lot of things. I don't buy much. I've got camera equipment, I've got a computer, I've got DJ equipment, and that's really it, and some clothes. So not that much stuff still. I could sell my DJ controller and fit all the rest I have in 2 suitcases. 2 big suitcases, no problem. And 1 backpack. Yeah, it can be some of the best decisions you've ever made in your life to get out of wherever you're at. Like, for me, I was stuck in LA. I had a really successful IT business for so many years. I made such good money. And then at around like 2018, like IT started getting farmed out to like really cheap services, remote services, and I took a big hit, like, and it happened relatively quickly because, oh, it's raining now. Charlie. So I gotta kind of hover back and forth here. We only got a few minutes left, so yeah, I had a IT business that paid really well and did really good revenue-wise, and then out of nowhere, kind of, you know, I started getting undercut, and people were outbidding me by like half the prices of what I charged, and it became a super competitive field where it just didn't pay as much. And I'm not a programmer, so I don't know programming. I'm always been the hardware guy, and I know software like OSs and stuff. Like, I was everything else. I'm a Cisco engineer, so I could set up an entire company's. If they needed 50 computers, I could set up 50 computers. I could set up a server. I could set up all kinds of stuff. Everything they needed, everything, firewall, all that stuff. So now that's a super competitive field, and you know, you can get a guy to do it for way cheaper than what I was willing to do it for, because at the end of the day, that's still a lot of work. You know, I'd run the lines and everything. I'd run the Ethernet cords. I mean, I was a one-stop shop. If you needed a company set up, I could do it in like 2 or 3 days. And I would do it correctly. A lot of companies don't do it correctly anymore, you know? A lot of companies let you have control. They let the user have control of their data. They let the user have control of their email account. And that's not how data prevention and malware prevention works. If you give them all that access, you're opening yourself up to ransomware and all these things, which is very popular now. I think SNK just got hit with ransomware, or Capcom, one of the two. And, you know, they had a lot of information got put out about people, and that's probably because they're doing the later part. They're sacrificing on good IT to save some money. And IT on a large corporation should be a huge chunk of the budget. But now it's slowly gone the other way to where, oh, anyone can do this, and some guy will do it for $20 an hour, let's go with him. And then they suffer the repercussions from that. It's really a sad thing to see that IT has gone down the shitter, but it pretty much has everywhere in the world. It just doesn't pay what it used to pay. Here it's incredibly competitive. Like, what I would do for $100 an hour, they'll do for $8, $12 an hour here, which is bananas to me. I could never imagine that. But I think, yeah, you should change your life if you're not happy, especially if you're like single and you've been in a rut and you're just tired of the rat race and you want a change in life. Start researching places. Start watching YouTubers. Start looking at, like, if you want to live in Japan, there's awesome, you know, there's Johnny, my boy Johnny Kimchi, there's TKO Sam over there. There's a lot of great vloggers over there. If you want to look at Korea, I don't know of any South Korean daily life vloggers, but I'm sure they're out there. I'll actually start looking them up because I'm curious who I would like in South Korea. But look at all these places. Like, I love South Korea. I could live in Seoul. I could live in Busan. I could live in Tokyo. I could live all Or say you want to live in Thailand or Taiwan. I got a buddy, a commenter, a top commenter on here that he's in Taiwan. He loves it. He's a SoCal brother. And all these places are great, viable places to potentially set up a new life that is stress-free of a lot of the things that hinder us in America. You got to realize here, there's no credit check. Like, it's amazing. You can get a credit card here by just proving that you have 3 months of income. So you just prove them three different months to where you've gotten paid by whatever company you're working for, and you can get a credit card here. There's no credit check. They don't have that stuff here. Nihongo businessmen. They're talking Japanese. Anyways. So, and that makes sense. They're heading into Japantown. Like I said, almost all the Japanese live in Japantown here. And they're usually married businessmen, and their wives are back in Japan. So, I mean, now is the time to start planning. Now is the time to learn a new skill, because you still got a year, pretty much. You can get into Vietnam now. If you're ready to go into Vietnam now, just drop me an email and I'll connect you with somebody that can help you out to get here. Of course, you've got to work a real job, and it's all legitimate. There's no investing into some shell company that files for a loss every year. I don't help with those kind of visas. So if you actually want to work and be here and pay taxes here, I can help you get here. And it's not through me. I have absolutely nothing to do with it. I can just connect you with trusted agents that I know, that my friends have used, that have large companies here, and that I've used to help get some people here just by the referral. So I would recommend that you start to learn your new skill. You start to figure out how to be a digital nomad. Figure out how to make that money. You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out a way to bring income in. Unless you're like retired and you have like a large amount. I would say if you had $200,000, you could live here from 50 to, you could live here forever pretty much. You could die here off of $200,000, $300,000 from the age of 55 on up, I would say. But now is your chance to change everything. Now is the time to look for a new life. Yeah, I would recommend that you visit the country you want to go to first, but you don't, since there's so many YouTubers in these places, like daily vlogging, you can really get a feel for how life is going to be here. If you're like a super anal guy, you might not like Vietnam. You might be more in tune with like South Korea or Tokyo, because it's like cleaner and more rules are followed and stuff like that. Here, rules don't really exist. People think it's some crazy C-word country here. It absolutely is not. It's way more capitalistic, and there's a way around pretty much every rule or law. It's very much like wild, wild west here still. Yeah, things are changing. It used to be super easy to just get a teaching job with no paperwork and stuff like that, which you still can, but I wouldn't recommend that. Like, why not just do it the legitimate way? So, yeah, that's my video on this topic. I think you should plan to make a change. If you're going to make it now, learn some kind of skill set that can make you income passively and non-passively. Coding is what I would recommend for most guys under the age of 40. If you take a crash course for 1 year, you should be able to learn some kind of coding that's going to pay you at least a couple $1,000s a month remotely, and boom, you're set. If you get a couple grand a month, you're seriously set. That's all you need, man. All right, guys, I thank you for watching. I hope I gave out some good information for you. We're gonna shoot Manzo's in the next few days. So me and Winnie will come here and have a steak dinner at Manzo's, and I'll review that. I know the owner for Manzo and Logic Pizza. Logic Pizza is a big pizza chain like 4P Pizza in Japan as well. I think Tikyo even had Logic on one of his videos where he was, what was he doing? I think a day in the life of, or like his work day. Anyways, thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Peace out.